Hello and welcome to Recharge Wrestling. I'm here with Fisher
Hello, guys.
and I'm Krusty in case you don't know who I am because I haven't been here in a few weeks.
Yes.
I'm glad to be back, and this is a special podcast to discuss the cards, the winners, losers, and the happenings of Extreme Rules, which happened on Sunday.
Saturday.
Saturday. Yeah, it is Sunday now. It's because we're in the UK, we watch it on the Sunday.
Yeah.
Happened Saturday night. And I think the best place to start is I'm not the only big return that happened this week.
No.
So the return, which everyone's been speculating about,
Yeah.
there's been a lot
It's
of
been
clues.
expected with the clues led to Bray Wyatt. It was quite obvious, really, by the end, but that didn't change it from being awesome.
It was still amazing, wasn't
Yeah.
it? I mean, people's been speculating since he left that he's going to be coming back.
Mm.
How long is it? Do you know? How long have you been gone?
I think it was July last year.
Really?
Yeah,
Wow.
It wasn't that long after Mania, was it? Because he had his last match was at Mania with Randy Orton, which he lost.
Yeah.
With the Alexa Bliss turn-in thing. And I think it was about a month or two after that he got released. He wasn't on TV much, and then he got released a while after that. So it's been a year and a half. It's gone quite quickly. But
was certainly ready for his spectacles that he brings with him.
yeah,
I mean, this
absolutely.
well, although we expected it, what an entrance! How cool was that?
Yes, the build to it was fantastic. I love the fade out that Triple H does as well, where they do put the end credits up, so it's like the end of the show. He did it on NXT all the time. He used to do that. I remember doing it with when Ciampa and Gargano were on the ramp, and the end credits come up. You think the show's going to end, and then Ciampa turned on Gargano. That was like a classic moment, and they did that again here. And Michael Cole was even like, "Are we still on
Are
air?"
we on air? Yeah.
Yeah, because this show was meant to be over. The lights go out, and then the song starts going. You know, he's got the whole world in his hands, and then just brilliantly, like all the characters appear, all the different characters from the Funhouse in each like section of the crowd.
Funhouse music all messed up. It's Bray's imagination, isn't it? Just coming to light.
Yeah, and it just sort of shows you the abandoned Funhouse, and then it cuts to Bray in a mask, and then he takes the mask off underneath, and then a massive pop when he comes out. I mean, they popped when the music started and everything anyway, but when he actually did the face reveal, it was a massive pop.
Yeah,
I think people are very excited to see it back.
I guess this means the Fiend is done.
Yes, well, there's a lot of speculation about what he's going to do. And what I liked about this is you got the pop of him returning, but he didn't go after anybody. So we don't know who his first feud's going to be with.
No.
At all, which I actually like, because that means you can save something for like tonight or Friday, whenever he next appears. And there's a lot of speculation about his character. Now, obviously, the character that showed up at the end looked like cult leader Bray Wyatt. He said that "I'm here" thing with the lantern. He had the music, the whole word in his hands music. But there's the speculation about his Twitter name for a while now has been Wyatt6, and people are speculating that there's going to be 6 Wyatt characters. The leader Bray Wyatt, and then the Fiend is like an alter ego, but also Abby.
Wow.
The buzzard,
sort of like a crazy Mick Foley.
yeah, sort of like that, and a pig and a rabbit, and maybe he'll have a faction and people with him in that. And people have been speculating names. There's a big rumored name. Well, I wouldn't say a big rumored name, but a name definitely that would be linked to this. I think if they return, has been linked to returning since Bray Wyatt come back that I saw last night. So that could be interesting.
And who's his big name?
Huh?
Who is that big?
Do you want to know? Well, it's not a massive name, but it's a person. Do you want to know who it is?
Yeah. Tell us.
Bo Dallas.
Really?
Well, I say big name. It's just he's Bray Wyatt's brother. It seems a bit of a coincidence.
Yeah, that could be quite cool.
So, I didn't know whether you wanted to know, or if
we got to tell.
Spoiler alert. But yes, it's been reported that Bo Dallas is going to be returning, and I just think it's too much of a coincidence.
That could be pretty awesome.
That his brother is.
If he's under Bray's wing, because I mean, Bo Dallas wasn't anything special, but he had some pretty good runs with like the B team and things. But I think under Bray's wing, he could really be awesome.
Yeah, so that would be quite cool. So like it wouldn't surprise me if he was involved in the group. I think you could, if you did do stuff, there's a lot of speculation on. We'll get to the women's title match later on, but Liv Morgan at the end, she cut a sort of promo on after the show, and she was like really upset and a bit angry, and it seemed like she was going sort of dark. Her Twitter's gone all blacked out.
Okay, so I think this really does seem.
So there's a lot of speculation that maybe Liv Morgan could be like Abby the Witch or something. Although Alexa Bliss would make more sense in a way, but also she turned on the Fiend before.
I think you'd be better having Liv, because Liv is going to need a resurgence here.
After losing,
unfortunately, we'll get into it a bit more later, but she needs something to do. I think Alexa is a better face, more popular, can go off on her own and have these title reigns. I think Liv would be better off sort of in a faction.
Yes, I do agree, but yeah, so it's just interesting whether, because a lot of people have interpreted, and you said the same to me actually, that maybe this was like the Wyatt characters look kind of dead, the Funhouse characters, and like this
is like the Fiend, like Mask was just splattered on the desk, wasn't it?
Yeah, but I think that was burnt Fiend. You know when they did the burnt Fiend?
Oh, when he got burnt, yeah. And then
I think that was that.
Him, but
you did see the actual Fiend.
Yeah.
But yeah, and I've seen other people speculate that as well. Maybe that's like the end. They want you to just sort of remember that and say this is the end of that, and we're going back to this. So it might be that it's just Bray Wyatt on his own, or he gets another type of faction completely. Like wouldn't surprise me if he brought like Eric Rowan in or someone like that. Do you know what I mean? Or his brother, like we've been speculating. So yeah, it's very interesting to open the air, but I'm just excited to see where it goes. I was a huge fan of Bray before.
Yeah,
obviously they completely screwed the run up towards the end with the Fiend. Well, not even towards the end. It didn't last very long, really. The hype.
No,
it started fantastic, and then obviously
brilliant character, but struggled to actually face anybody.
Yes, and obviously the Hell in a Cell match with Seth was a mess, and then the Goldberg defeat was just completely killed him off, and then they finished him at WrestleMania with the Randy defeat. So yeah, it was horrible. But
so
if he's not the Fiend, I think they can book him much better, because you can make him beatable and believable, but also make him a strong character.
Yeah,
and hopefully probably a better wrestler, not as the Fiend as well.
Yes,
because I think the matches are a little bit limited when he's the Fiend as well.
100%, yeah.
So yeah, I'm really looking forward to seeing where it goes.
No, great time to be watching wrestling, that's for sure. Should we go through the card of Extreme Rules then?
Yeah, unless you've got anything else to say about Bray, but I think we've covered everything. I mean, we'll talk about him.
That's the beauty. It's speculation. At the moment, because it's so open. It's not obvious. The only thing that was obvious was he was coming back, wasn't it? Because they gave the actual hints.
Yeah,
which I think is a smart idea, because otherwise you're just going to get spoiled that he's returning. Well, why not just make it publicist thing to draw people in?
It did draw people in. Sometimes that's good. I think sometimes knowing someone coming back can be a good thing, because you can get the hype for it. You can get you can watch a show. I mean, in the main event they were chanting "We want Wyatt" chants. Everyone knew he was going to be there as some sort of capacity, but it didn't spoil the pop. It made it, if anything, it made it better, because people knew it was happening, but how it was done was still brilliant. So
yeah, it was fantastic.
Like I say, very exciting. Who just a quick question actually, who do you think his first feud will be? Because obviously we didn't.
Well, I always thought you'd go for Seth just because of what happened. But the fact that Seth has a random United States title match on Raw would say to me that it's not Seth, which I think is good, because I prefer them to stay apart. And that says to me that the Fiend is gone, because
yes, because the Fiend would probably go after. It's interesting. There's so many options. I think Riddle could be an interesting one himself, because obviously Bray's last match in WWE was with Randy Orton, and obviously the Riddle links to that could make sense. You've also got maybe going after the Judgment Day, which wouldn't surprise me, because Balor and Bray have unfinished business from the Demon Fiend thing that they were going to do and then never did. You could have I think versus Edge is a match that hasn't happened yet, which I think would be fantastic.
You could even put him against someone relatively new just to elevate that person. I can't see them doing that, but
I'm assuming he's on Raw, so I'm thinking mainly of Raw people to go against. But on SmackDown you've got, I guess, Drew or Cross could be interesting as well. Although I don't think him versus Cross would be a good idea to do straight away, because I think you need to build that more. But yeah, it'd be interesting. It depends if he's on his own or he's with a faction as well. Because if he's with a faction, they'll probably go up against another faction like Judgment Day. I could see that, or even the Bloodline.
The problem is everyone we've mentioned is already in something.
Yeah,
I know Triple H likes to move around, but you've got Judgment Day definitely don't have have unfinished business with Edge. So yeah, I think everyone's sort of in something. So I'm excited to see what happens. Definitely am. Which side of the card should we start with?
Let's just start at the start of the show and go through to and end on the main event.
Definitely. So Brawling Brutes versus Imperium in a Donny Brooke match. What a banger
way to start a show. And in my opinion, it was the match of the night. Even, by the end of the night, I still thought it was the best thing on the show.
Amazing, wasn't it?
Other than the return. Yeah, I knew it would be good. I mean, these guys they never failed to have amazing matches with each other.
Fantastic, wasn't it? I'd say it was almost... It's quite difficult sometimes to make these larger matches as appealing as like a 5-star one-on-one match.
Yeah.
But I feel this delivered almost as much as Sheamus versus Gunther. It was that good.
Yeah. It was better than the SmackDown Gunther versus Sheamus.
Oh,
it wasn't. I mean, that was interrupted by adverts, and we'll talk about that probably more when we get to the review on Thursday. But what we thought of that, because that was quite a confusing finish and that as well. And that, but this just had everything in it that you want from a big man match in terms of Gunther and Sheamus. It had, I mean, Pete Dunne doing his flip off of the barrels.
The ring was just carnage, wasn't it? It was just an absolute mess. There was a barricade broken, which I don't think was supposed to break.
No, I don't think that was supposed to break.
You had barrels everywhere. Some of the shots with the shillelaghs was amazing. They were they were not holding back. I know they sort of pre-break them, so they snap, but they definitely was full on hitting each other with that.
Yeah. And what I loved about this match as well is because it was a street fight style, not tagging in.
Yes.
They were all fighting at the same time. The cameramen couldn't really keep up with all the action because it was like all over the place. And I like that rather than two people having a spot and then the others lying around the ring, then two people having a spot. I mean, there was a little bit of that towards the end of the match, which you do need to have at times, maybe to get to the finish. You need that because you can't have every 6 men up and on the finish. But generally, there was a lot on there. And the spot of the match for me was Sheamus doing it was a razor's edge, basically. I think they called it the Celtic Cross.
Celtic Cross, yeah.
Through a table on Gunther. That was
good.
A crazy
Ruin
spot.
The commentary table in the first match. Why not?
Yeah. And I just thought everyone got their stuff in here. It was great. Like nobody
back and forth, wasn't there? Just constantly near falls, lots of breakups. Well, that was the important thing. I think this match could have ended at any time because there wasn't many kickouts. They were all being broken up because they definitely were going to get the free count, which I thought gave it some real suspense. Some good tandem offense as well. When they were sort of double teaming and things like that. And you even had like Rich Holland, which I know Keeney said he's actually really impressed with him lately, doing his double moves. Yeah,
I agree. I agree he's improved quite a lot in recent.
I think he's got his confidence back. I think the Big E thing knocked him, which made him be a bit more reserved. But I think he's got his confidence back now, which is good.
And I think he's in there with I think I said it before. I think he's in there with the right people. Like Sheamus has been in WWE for like 15 years nearly at this point, and Pete Dunne is like a genuinely amazing wrestler. So
he is.
And the opponents as well.
And then Imperium
very,
as well.
very good.
Got some serious experience.
Rather than putting him in one-on-one matches where he might not be he might not look quite as strong. I think putting him in these type of matches, he's perfect for them. And they're having, as Sheamus would like to say, banger after banger after banger. All of these guys.
Was banger after banger.
And the finish come with a bro kick in the end to Vinci, with obviously Gunther laying outside after being put through a table. Me and you both got this prediction right, I believe, on our predictions league. We both got 4 out of 6. Keeney got 5 out of 6 and actually won this show. He was the only person to get 5. Quite a lot of people got like 2 and 1.
Shout out to Daz for getting 0. Nice one, Daz. That's our first 0, I think, of the predictions league. So
and Tizzle. He only got 2. He didn't get any points for this. It was a hard show to. I've got to say though, we said it on the build-up. It's a very hard show to predict. I think I looked at it. I think
that's what made it so exciting.
Yeah, I think like 75% of our predictors went for Bailey to win, like instead of Belair, and Belair won. Like that doesn't often happen, where loads of people go the wrong match, and even the main event, like 50...
That was the thing. I almost went safe by saying both are going to retain, but obviously one. I kicked myself.
I had a feeling
thinking,
one was. I think a lot of people thought that, but by the predictions, most people went for a title to one of the titles to change. It's just a lot
Should
of
we
people
move on
the
to the next match then, since we're talking about women's? Was there anything else you wanted to mention from that match?
No, just that. Yeah, for me it was an
Fantastic,
amazing match, a match of the night. But yeah, let's
And a
move
win
on
for
to
the
Ronda
Golden Boot.
versus Liv, which I don't know about you, but wasn't quite as good.
When this was announced, I just unfortunately I think Ronda is a really hard opponent to face because she's made too strong, and it's unrealistic to have her beat sometimes.
Well, yeah, this is the thing, because a lot of people went for Liv to win this match, but my thinking was that Liv isn't beating Ronda 3 times, and I know the first one was a cash in, and the second one was that dodgy finish.
The only reason I went for Liv, I went for Liv. The only reason I did is because I thought her reign has been so crap.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, because of that initial Ronda pin submission thing, it's just been so flat. I thought they might try give her a bit more of a chance. And I thought in a match where you can have weapons, you could easily just have her hit one lucky hit with a baseball bat or something around the head.
Yeah. I also, on our pod on Thursday, I thought there would be interference in this match one way or another, either to help Ronda or cost Ronda. I thought Shayna Baszler would probably be involved. I thought there was a chance Charlotte Flair returns during this match.
Yeah, that seems to have disappeared, hasn't it?
But yeah, nothing. It was just a straight one-on-one match. Some of the weapon shots looked a bit awkward.
They were terrible, weren't they? Yeah.
In this match.
I didn't enjoy this at all. I don't enjoy the result. I do like Ronda Rousey. I don't think I like her in the title picture.
No, and to be honest, I was a bit. What's frustrating is Ronda herself in an interview fairly recently said, I don't need to be champion to be relevant, and I don't think I should be the champion because there's other people that like Liv Morgan that have worked really hard to be in a position they're in. She's like, I'd rather have interesting stories, not around the title. But then they put the title on her. So
seems an odd move for Triple H as well. It doesn't seem the sort of thing he'd do when you compare it to everything else he's doing.
No, I know, but I feel like they're setting up for something huge down the line. I think they'll do the Shayna feud soon. I don't think that'll be the big Mania feud, but I think they want. Yeah, what I was thinking, we haven't had that. Still haven't had that Becky Ronda one-on-one match, have we?
Yeah.
We had that triple threat. I still think maybe when Becky returns, she'll return.
And I will be the biggest Becky fan ever when that
I can see it. I think that's why they put the title on Ronda, because I think she'll have a feud with Shayna through like till maybe day one or the Royal Rumble or whenever. She'll feud with Shayna probably till then, and then maybe Becky will return, and then she'll face Becky at Mania. That's my prediction from it, because I think they want a huge match
at all.
Because I don't think Liv was ever going to keep it through to Mania anyway. And who else were they going to put it on?
It's a shame because I think she'd have really popped if she'd have carried on that initial momentum when she cashed in.
Yeah.
And not had that stupid Ronda match straight after. They should have given her a few half-assed opponents for a while, just to really build her up.
They did the Shayna match at Clash that we were at, and even that didn't get a great reaction because people just needed like care.
Lacey Evans or something like that, maybe for her to beat. It's just, and this match unfortunately damaged Liv even more, in my opinion. As you mentioned, some of the weapon shots were terrible. When you compare it to some of the other matches, even in that evening. Just the weapon shots just did not look good. It was like, don't use a baseball bat if you can't make it look realistic. It was almost like, I know at one point one of the commentators said, "Oh, they're toying, Ronda's toying with her or something like that." But because the other shots were so bad, I couldn't tell whether it was toying or if it was just them doing really awful attempted weapon shots.
Yeah, I know what you mean. I know what you mean completely. And the finish itself, so there was obviously Liv did a senton through the table on Ronda, which was a cool spot. She kicked out.
That was a cool spot, yeah.
But then there was a broken table, and then Ronda did a submission. I don't know what the submission was. It wasn't her armbar, but Liv kind of was smiling as she passed out, which wasn't interesting. A lot of people were criticizing this finish. I didn't actually hate this finish because at least Liv didn't tap. And I think the fact she was kind of smiling for it makes it kind of an interesting character thing. And based on what we saw afterwards on the sort of exclusive on the WWE website, I think her character's heading in a different direction, which I mentioned earlier.
I think we
So
need to.
I think we're either going to get a heel turn or like a much crazier, different version
I
of Liv
actually
rather
used
than
to
the
like
smiley.
her old. It's funny you should mention like the crazy side because I used to prefer her old gimmick from
The Riot Squad.
her character from the Riot Squad. Yeah, it was a bit more. I guess it's in relation. It's similar to Harley Quinn
Yeah.
in sort of the colourful craziness and some of the wrestling she used to do back then. I thought was better than it is now. She's definitely improved in some areas, but some of the more flamboyant moves, like she used to do that awesome bridge to like avoid a move,
Mm.
where she'd like go over backwards and things like that. I haven't seen that in ages, which is just odd. I really, I'm quite sad because I do like Liv Morgan, but I think this reign has just been terrible.
Yeah,
Um,
I think her character just needs. I think her character needs to change a bit.
yeah,
I think now she's lost that title, it might do her a favor in the long run because it wasn't working. It
no,
wasn't, like you said, for various reasons. Um, Something else that, in my opinion, didn't really work, and it's a little bit of a negative section of the show because I thought these two matches back to back were the worst things
yeah,
on the show.
yeah,
Was Drew
100%.
versus Cross, and actually, I dislike this match probably more than the Ronda Liv match personally,
Yeah, I think I
purely
agree with you. Yeah,
because I didn't like the finish.
I didn't
At
like the
all.
finish or the match, to be honest.
No, and the match, I just thought I was a little bit. I had higher expectations. I think that was the problem here.
Yes,
Um, I like the start with Cross like not putting the strap on, and then
yeah, that was cool.
eventually, Drew. They're fighting through the crowd, and then on the outside, and eventually Drew got him in the
I
ring.
think, yeah, I think a strap really limits Drew, especially Drew,
Yeah,
because Drew's matches are so sort of like sporadic, explosive power that he couldn't do that. It was
no,
just
he had
ended up
one
just
little
whipping him with him.
burst. He had one little burst of it, but there was too much. It was too slow. This match, too much.
Yeah,
Obviously, I know in the strap match you're going to get loads of whipping stuff, but there was too much of it. I thought, um, and it was just kind of, yeah, it was just kind of a bit boring,
it was
really.
flat, wasn't it? When you compare it to the Roman match, which did have slow spots
Yeah,
from Clash at the Castle,
yeah.
it was chalk and cheese.
Yeah,
And
I
I
agree. I
think
think the strap might have
it
limited
damaged
them.
Cross a bit as well because he is so enduring. Sort of the way you look at him as well, it's really cool. His presentation, and I thought, wow, that was a terrible match.
Yeah,
So
I didn't think it was like awful. There wasn't like botches and spot. I just thought it was a bit boring. I was a bit
yeah,
during this match, like after the amazing start, and then we had the Ronda match live, which was okay, but didn't really
hmm
great. It wasn't great. And then this was just. I was a bit like, oh, this show's like disappointed me a bit so far because I
yeah.
had such high expectations of this show. And by the end, I was definitely satisfied. The next three matches plus
Oh yeah,
the ending of Bray made it a great show again. But at this point, I was a little bit disappointed. But yeah, the finish, the spray to the eye, like they tried the
that was
fireball spot.
pants.
They've done a fireball spot in this feud with Scarlett as well. Now
Yeah, yeah.
pepper spray. Um, yeah,
I just want Cross to be a bit of a beast with occasional distraction.
yeah, I don't think he
Not
should need Scarlett to win the matches.
no,
That's the thing. He should be. He's big. He's like strong. He shouldn't need. This isn't like when he had Miz and Maurice, and Maurice would
no.
help Miz cheat because that's the kind of heel he is. Cross should be able to beat people without needing Scarlett, and that's the way that. At
I
a
think
moment,
we're in danger of putting him in the same situation he was in before.
yeah. But yeah, I mean, and when does Drew go from here? Because he just keeps getting he was getting his
Well,
ass
that's why
beaten
I
in the build
predicted
up.
Drew because he's been
Yeah,
beat again. The only thing I can see is this story where he becomes so run down, he turns, and he.
I think this match. I think they go another match here though. I think this match will happen again at Crown Jewel.
Oh, okay.
Because it wasn't a clean finish. If Drew had beaten, if Cross had beaten clean, I don't think. But I think we get this match
Crown
again.
Jewel or it waits to Survivor Series.
I think they
maybe.
do Crown Jewel, and they won't take Scarlett over there because they
No.
won't have many women over there, do they? Anyway,
No.
and they'll just do one on one, and like maybe it'll be like a cage match or something, so nobody can get involved, and then maybe Drew will get his win back, something like that. I reckon.
Yeah, good idea.
I think
Drew needs to win now, though. He's getting in
yeah,
the Seth scenario, isn't he?
yeah,
Where he's losing every feud.
I think Seth can get away with it because the way he wrestles, and he's also a heel. So heels
Yes.
sometimes need to have their comeuppance. But with Drew, he's like supposedly the top babyface, and he just keeps getting screwed over. So yeah, I agree with you. And this, like I said, this match was a bit disappointing. Let's move on to
Something a
Match
bit more,
number
a bit better,
4,
eh?
because I thought
Bit
this
more
match was
positive.
really, really good, and that's Bailey versus Bianca Belair.
Yeah, I thought this was great. Straight away, this really did actually entertain me
Yeah,
and give me a good buzz because ladder matches sometimes I get a bit fed up of them climbing the ladder at like 1 mile an hour.
I think
But
in a one-on-one match that doesn't seem to happen as much. It's more when you've got multiple.
loads of people.
Yeah,
But Belair was like taking opportunities to just turn and run up the ladder,
yeah, I
which
love
I
that. They
thought was
showed
so
her.
clever.
Yeah, they showed her like flipping around, just like really quick, like trying to get in the ring, climb up the ladder, catch
Yeah,
Bailey out. I really like that.
it was brilliant, wasn't it?
And they didn't mess about straight away as well. Like Belair got smashed into a ladder on the outside, like within like the first minute of the match. So
Yeah.
they did some good weapon spots with the ladder as
There were
well.
some huge moves, wasn't there? You had that sunset flip
Yeah,
from Bailey into Belair, and that looked like it hurt.
yeah,
that
and so did that elbow drop as well, where Bailey set up the two ladders between the ladder between the ring and the barricade,
yeah,
led Bianca and then did an elbow drop off the apron. That was kind of a cool spot, and that
they
looked
went for
painful.
it really. I mean, yeah, talking about spots as well, the finish was really cool and unique, where Bailey had hold of the ladder
Yeah,
and Belair got her in a KOD. But I think Bailey might have smashed her face off the ladder. Very hard
there was
spot
a
to
bit of
get
blood,
right.
wasn't there?
But yeah, I think that it did look like she hit her mouth on it. But fantastic match.
Yeah,
Using the ladders really well.
and I thought they obviously had damage control get involved in this match.
Yeah,
We kind of speculated, me and Keeney on the pod, like how would this finish go? Because we thought obviously damage control would get involved. Asuka and Alexa were taken out on Raw, and Keeney kind of thought maybe they'll get involved here. And I said maybe we'll get someone else help Bailey, but yeah, Belair, I mean. But she didn't need the help in the end. She just beat everybody up
no,
and won.
double KOD, didn't she, on
And
Dakota and
they're
Io?
making Belair like unbelievably strong. I saw
I
someone
think they need
yesterday
to.
compared
Yeah.
her to, she's like a female Cena, where she can just like be on her own and destroy factions and just win. Like,
I
and that's
got
not
no
a bad
problem
thing.
with that.
That's
She's
not a
such a
bad thing.
beast.
But
I
yeah,
wonder whether we'll keep on with this until eventually we do get that match of Rhea versus Belair.
that's what I would like to see, that be a title match at Mania. I think that you keep Rhea and Belair away from each other. Rhea's not even wrestling in the women's division at the moment, really.
No,
You keep her separate and then have Rhea win the Royal Rumble would be a great way to go. And then she can just challenge Belair at Mania. Because I don't really see the point in taking the. I thought if they were going to take the title off Belair, this might be the chance to do it because it was a ladder match. She wouldn't have to take a pin because it's Bailey, a strong opposition. But if she didn't lose here, I don't see Belair really losing anytime soon now.
no.
And the Survivor Series, I'm pretty sure the title won't be on the line because I think they'll be in the War Games match, won't they?
Yeah.
They're almost certainly going to be Team Belair versus Team Bailey, isn't it?
Yeah, it's going to be great fun. No, I can't wait, especially after that.
Yeah. So that was a really good match. Then we got Finn Balor versus Edge. I have some mixed thoughts on this match, but overall, really, really enjoyed it. I loved the storytelling and particularly the finish here.
Yeah.
My only criticism is this match went 29 minutes long, and I don't think it needed to be that long. The first half of this match dragged a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
The ref was, it'd be a basic submission hold, and he'd be asking if they quit. Too much of that at the start.
Half the time was on the microphone, wasn't it? It was just weird, just them breathing heavily down the mic.
Yeah.
Going, no.
And I get what they were doing. They were playing up that Edge will never quit. Like, he was refusing to quit after every move. And then eventually, obviously, he took a sacrificial.
Like you say, there wasn't some moves and you're like, there's no way anyone would quit after that.
No. So it felt a little bit pointless at the start, that bit. Just want to say as well, Balor's entrance. He had a cool entrance with a really different mask. I don't know.
Mask,
yeah, that was unusual.
And also, I was watching him because he looked like he was about to do his usual.
Yes, he did.
And then he was like, nope, like proper heel didn't actually do it, just like stayed down and then like really arrogantly goes up way out of the music just to wind the crowd up.
Yeah, that was cool.
He's a brilliant heel. I'm really glad he's sort of come back with a resurgence here.
Yeah. And the match itself, again, it was cool. I love the bits for the crowd. That was good. There's a big suplex on the floor, and then they went for the barricade. Edge used a hockey stick at one point.
That was pretty cool. Crowd pleasing.
But I think the match really picked up once the interferences started.
Well, yeah, you had a
I
massive
think
spear on
it was,
Finn off the apron into the rest of the Judgment Day.
yeah.
That was
So
wild.
once Priest and Dom come down, I think the match really took it to another level, because then it started getting interesting. You had Rhea handcuff Edge to the
That was a cool
ring
spot and
post.
actually felt quite realistic.
Yeah, because Edge was
Not
going to
like,
do it, lining up a spear, and she just kind of sneakily grabbed him.
yeah, and she's strong enough to sort of hold as well. You sort of, it's believable, isn't it? Whereas
Yeah.
sometimes you're like, oh, that just looked terrible.
And then obviously we got Rey Mysterio come down as well to try and help Edge when he was getting beaten up 3-on-1, handcuffed. Rey got sort of taken out. Dom, Michael Cole was like going mad on commentary here.
Mental, didn't
Yeah,
Dom was
he was good on commentary here. Then eventually, I predicted this to happen. This is why I went for Finn Balor to win, because I thought there's no, like, Beth Phoenix is going to get involved again here.
We've been predicting this for ages, haven't we?
Yeah, and then I thought that Edge isn't going to quit on his own accord, but something's going to happen to Beth, and that's going to make him quit, and that's exactly what happened. So Beth gets in the ring, she takes out Priest at one point, and I think Balor too. But then the crowd get really into it when they see Rhea and Beth stare down, and I think they've got to do that match at some point. They have to do that match because that is.
Well, I'm wondering if we'll get it Survivor Series.
We could do
Judgment Day versus Edge, Rhea, and Bray.
Yeah, because I predicted that for Clash at the Castle and it didn't happen, and then they've got to do Rhea and Beth eventually, whether it's 1-on-1, whether it's a tag, they've got to do it. But eventually, so she unlocks Edge, and then but that doesn't really help in the end because Edge goes to get the bar off the chair, but behind the ref's back, Rhea hits Beth with brass knuckles, knocks Beth out, and then that allows the Judgment Day to just take Edge out, and eventually. Edge, he won't quit at first, but once they threaten to do the concerto, he quits, and then they do it anyway.
That was savage. Absolutely.
Which
savage.
I quite like the fact they did it anyway. I thought that was a good spot. Really savage heel work, like you said. Really good storytelling. Great stuff from Edge, like the acting and the sort of the reason. I really like the finish, basically. And I think Finn winning is the right move as well to keep Judgment Day strong. He's got a win over Edge, which is like a huge deal for him.
Yeah. He did need it, didn't he? Because they've lost a lot, Judgment.
Yeah, yeah. Balor Week recently has won a lot more matches. I feel.
Yeah.
Because I know
not a big one. I think.
He's won matches on Raw against like Ray and stuff, but not someone of Edge's, standing in WWE sense. So yeah, really, really good. The last 10 minutes of this I thought were fantastic. Basically.
Yeah, really enjoyed that.
But the minor criticism is they could have took a few minutes off this match and maybe put it on the main event and made the main event slightly bigger. Because the main event actually was quite short compared to it. So should we move on to that now?
Yeah, definitely. I don't mind the fact it was short, I suppose, because this match is meant to be so savage, and it was bloody.
It was really good. What we
it?
got was really good, but I do think the first Riddle Seth match we got was a better match overall than this one. I don't know if you agree, but.
Yeah, it's difficult, isn't it, when you do this sort of stipulation?
Yeah.
It is more spotty, isn't it?
Yeah.
Spotty. Hitting spots, but I did enjoy this. I guess I like the fact that the referee is like a UFC fighter, but I don't think he added anything to it.
No, there was teases, wasn't there, at the start where he kind of was like, "You're not fighting me, you're fighting each other." It kind of pulled the guys off, and I thought we were going to get a big spot with him after that because they were both annoying him.
It was kind of like when we had Jeff Jarrett as a special guest referee, and he did nothing.
And that was this at least made sense why he was there.
Yeah. It made sense, but there was a couple of things he did that were wrong. Like the finish for a start, he like didn't tell the ref that it was like the ring announcers it was over. He just like
I didn't even
left
notice.
it. Yeah, he like waited a minute and then so he just was tapping and trying to break it up, but didn't tell anyone. Which just looked a bit delayed. But the match itself, I actually did really enjoy it.
Yeah, I did as well.
Frog splash from Seth off the side of the ring, off the cage, was mad. I loved that.
I've got to mention as well, Seth coming out in a sort of RVD style singlet.
With his hair tied back.
Tied back, and then did an RVD, but Seth freaking Rollins.
Oh, man.
Obviously trolling here because it's in Philadelphia, which is kind of where ECW made its name, and obviously it was an extreme Rules
Seth's an
show.
absolute goat, in my opinion. Just things like when he was in the ring and he got up the top, and rather than doing anything, Riddle was down the bottom and he was just walking around, just like tuning with the crowd
Yeah.
and singing his music. Just this guy doesn't miss, I don't think. Ever since that horrible Fiend decision, which wasn't to do with him, he's just everything he does is amazing. Riddle interestingly brings out the RKO in this match
Yes, he
a couple
countered
of
it.
times.
The nice counter actually. That was really smooth. It was a Peruvian necktie, which obviously Seth won with a couple of weeks ago, which is a sort of jiu-jitsu hold. And then, that was counted into an RKO, which was interesting. The floating bro off the top was insane. I don't know how Riddle didn't hurt himself doing that.
That was big, wasn't it?
Yeah, that was mental. There's stuff like, obviously there was a pedigree. There's a buckle bomb in the corner of the top of the cage.
Yeah.
There was a pedigree on top of the platform.
I'm glad he just did a buckle bomb there. I had a feeling he was going to lob him into the ring at one point. I was a bit scared for Riddle.
Yeah, that would have been a bit much, I think.
That would have been crazy.
But yeah, this match was really good. I do think it was slightly affected by the fact that the crowd were chanting "We want Wyatt," and I think they knew because Bray hadn't appeared yet. They were kind of just waiting for Bray at this point, and I don't think the crowd was into it as they could have been for that reason. I think if this had gone on early, the crowd would have been really into this match. But because
I suppose it didn't really need to main event, did it? In a way,
it didn't. No.
But I suppose it's the spectacle of that cage.
I think it's the fact Cormier was involved. I think the spectacle of the cage. It wouldn't. They could have had on the build up to it. I thought they could have had pretty much any one of the matches main event, other than maybe the 6-man tag. I didn't think that would main event, but the others, there was a couple of title matches on the card, so you could have title matches, especially with a title change. But then I think if Ronda and Liv had main evented and we got the match we did, I think we'd have been disappointed. So, I think it was fine. It was just unfortunate that obviously they did the Bray Wyatt thing at the end, so people were kind of just waiting for it. It felt like a little bit, but that's not really anybody's fault. I think it was a smart decision.
I was excited too. I was just thinking, when is he going to turn up? Is he going to interfere in the match? Is he going to cause?
Yeah. I was kind of looking to see how long the show was left because I was like, Bray better bloody appear. And then the match ended. I think it was like 7 minutes left. I was like, well, something's happening.
You cheeky boy. I wasn't doing that. I was being good and not looking at the time limit. I didn't want it spoiled.
Well, I was thinking surely something has to happen because if it doesn't, then that's going to be.
So, yeah. Although we best mention that Riddle got the win here.
Oh, of course, yeah.
From an awesome ending, actually. So he got Seth in the submission, and Seth was trying everything to get him off. He bounced him off the edge of the cage. He
twice.
Power bombed him and didn't. He still didn't let go.
Yeah,
I loved this. This was brilliant, and it's realistic because it feels real because Riddle is. Well, he come from an MMA background, so for him to win in this setting and not let go from a submission in a match that could only be ended by submission, I thought was great. Yeah, I enjoyed this. I think this is the way to go when you let them each have one apiece. So whether you carry this on,
I don't know whether we get it. I guess we'll have to wait and see what happens tonight because obviously Seth is wrestling for the United States title tonight.
I wonder if he'll get it. I'm wondering if they're gonna take this title off Lashley. Give it to Seth. Seth seems to have come away from the other belts, and I think he deserves a belt. And it wouldn't surprise me if Triple H sees that. I know other people have disagreed with me, as in, well, yourselves, you and Keeney, but I think Lashley's gone a bit flat this last few weeks. I know he's been having good matches, but in terms of story,
there's no story there. There's
nothing at all, is there? He's just not doing a lot. So I wouldn't be opposed to putting that title on Seth. You can also then pull him away from Riddle because he can say, I've got bigger things to fry now. See you later.
Yeah, I would, but it's a difficult one.
But also, who would we like Seth to face at WrestleMania? Cody Rhodes. If you don't want Cody near the main title because Roman's got bigger fish to fry with The Rock or whatever, you give Seth a title to then push Cody towards maybe. US title, American Nightmare. It makes sense, doesn't it?
It does
in my head.
Yeah, it does make sense, but
Seth can't lose again. He can't lose again, surely.
Well, the thing is, he did stop. He's got obviously the Riddle thing still there, but also he did stomp Mustafa Ali on Raw. So it wouldn't surprise me if Ali comes out and costs him.
That'd be a good feud as well.
I
wouldn't mind.
But I would like Ali try to cost him but it doesn't. Rollins wins, and then we can do Rollins versus Ali for the US title. I think that would be a great.
Yeah, that'd be
first.
banger. In fact,
That'd
those
be it.
two in the ring will be absolute fire.
Yeah, I think that would be really quite a cool thing to do. I don't know what you do with Lashley then, but that's for another a conversation for another day. We'll talk about that
come
on
around
Thursday.
on Roman again, couldn't he? I mean, someone else to
Yeah,
line up for him.
I guess we see what happens on Raw, and then we'll talk about
I'm
that
excited
on Thursday.
for Raw. That's definitely.
Oh, I'm definitely excited for Raw. We got DX on there. We've got the premiere. We've got Gargano versus Theory, Rollins v Lashley, and then Bray
exactly.
Wyatt.
The fact it's a premiere would say to me even more that Rollins is going to get that title, because I think a big thing to happen is to have one of your major stars win a title on that first season premiere.
That's a fair point.
But
so just quickly, overall thoughts on the show. I would say it was like a 7.5 out of 10. Really, really great ending with Bray. I think the opening match was brilliant. I think the main event and the Balor match were really good. The ladder match delivered. There's just the two matches
in the middle.
Two matches, I think, under-delivered a little bit that were disappointing. Obviously, the title change is noteworthy, but I don't know if it's a good thing or a bad thing, really. But yeah, I would say, I don't think it was pay-per-view of the year, which I thought it could be with the card, but I think it was still pretty good.
It's a big card, wasn't it? Which I think gives you expectation, doesn't it?
Yeah.
And can be damaging.
Yeah.
But yeah, I hope you all enjoyed that, and I hope you also enjoyed Extreme Rules if you have watched it. If you haven't, it's definitely worth a watch. Maybe skip a couple of matches in the middle. We will be back again recording Thursday, ready for a Friday morning podcast with our usual Raw and hopefully Raw, SmackDown, NXT and AEW.
Yeah, well, maybe AEW, depends whether we've watched it or not. And
I like to get people's hopes up anyway.
Yeah.
If not, you'll have Fisher straight in with our AEW correspondent. Give us a follow.
You say that. I was meant to do one this week and I didn't because Extreme Rules.
Fisher's letting the side down.
Well, Extreme Rules and stuff got in the way, and then I just.
To be honest, AEW at the moment compared to WWE is awful. So.
Yeah, I don't know about that, but
it's not even as exciting to talk about.
Obviously, I think we're much more hyped on WWE. I think you can tell that, but yeah. Right, so follow us on Twitter at Recharge Wrestle. Keep an eye on our YouTube, like and subscribe, and we'll see you on Thursday.
Yeah, thanks, guys. Bye.
Goodbye.